So to the extent that there are lots of other interesting applications in the crypto world, they'll probably create demand for Bitcoin. And of course, innovations in mainstream mobile apps or web apps or traditional finance services or the like will also create demand for Bitcoin. I think you got to look at Bitcoin. Over 10 years, it's the best performing asset. If you look at it year to date, it's the best performing asset. If you focus on it hourly or daily or maybe week by week, then you may get caught up in the noise. But ultimately, I think Bitcoin's performing just fine. And if you compare Bitcoin's performance in the last 12 months to gold's performance in the last 12 months, you can see that Bitcoin is doing exactly what you would expect it to do. And you can see that gold isn't. And so clearly, Bitcoin's performing as digital gold if you just take a long view perspective, like a 1 year to 4 year perspective.
And how do you see the profile of Bitcoin adopters trending in the next 1 to 2 years? Based on your conversations with other management teams and institutions, do you expect to see a more diverse set of owners to begin adopting cryptocurrency?
Yeah, I think if you look at some of the results from like quarterly statements from Coinbase, they've made clear they've got 9,000 or more institutional grade accounts now. There's been a real parade of institutions entering into the asset class in the last 12 months at a rapid rate. I think the ETFs brought a lot more institutions. Anecdotally, I hear a lot of private companies coming into Bitcoin, a lot of family offices, a lot of high net worth individuals. Every month, another 1 or 2 publicly traded companies comes public that's a Bitcoin company. So I think that you can just expect more of the same adoption dynamic we've seen since August of 2020. Bitcoin was not perceived to be an institutional grade asset. We were the first mover. And today there are thousands and thousands of institutions that are invested in Bitcoin. And I think you'll just see a continuing progression of more of the same going into 2022 and beyond. What's not really appreciated is that there's thousands and thousands of other cryptos, but there's also thousands of other applications in the mainstream economy. And they're all innovating at the same time. And Bitcoin is kind of an essential component to both. So companies like Apple and Google and Square and PayPal and Fidelity and JP Morgan and the like, they're all going to embed Bitcoin one way or the other into some application or service over time. And they're ferociously innovating. Lots of small entrepreneurial mobile app and other app and website companies that are innovating ferociously, including the ones we know like FTX and Binance and Coinbase. I think there's lots of innovation going on in other cryptos. But ultimately, Bitcoin is unique in the universe as digital property. Nothing else has proven to be digital property. There's only one universal agreement, which is Bitcoin as property. So to the extent that there are lots of other interesting applications in the crypto world, they'll probably create demand for Bitcoin. And of course, innovations in mainstream mobile apps or web apps or traditional finance services or the like will also create demand for Bitcoin.
So if the price of Bitcoin drops to levels below the average price it was acquired, can MicroStrategy be confident in serving its debt long term?
Yeah, I think we can. First of all, I think our debt to asset ratio or debt to equity ratio is pretty low. We've got maybe 2.2 billion in debt and 6 billion, some range and $6 billion worth of assets. So we're maybe 25-30% sometimes. More importantly, though, that's talking about if we needed to just pay it all off tomorrow. Could we? Yeah, sure we could. But more importantly, the blended interest rate on our debt is like 1.5% interest. So we can cover the entire interest bill, just out of operating income from the core business. We've been very thoughtful about the way that we structured that debt. So I don't think we have issues there.
Before we continue, help us clicking that YouTube like button and subscribe now to our channel. This shows the algorithm that you valued this information. And it helps us spread that message. Sharing is caring. And now, let's continue.
Do you still expect Bitcoin to be primarily used as a store of value? Or do you see potential for broader adoption for micropayments, such as in El Salvador, cross-border payments or other use cases? And have your views on the function of Bitcoin changed over the last year?
I think that Bitcoin running on the base layer is best thought of right now as digital gold and the world's best store of value, or maybe digital property. But I think that the Lightning Network, and there are layer 2 and layer 3 applications that dramatically matured in the past 12 months that cause you to conclude that Bitcoin's going to actually be running on hundreds, if not thousands, of layer 2 and layer 3 networks. For example, Lightning is one, and Lightning is just a decentralized, non-custodial layer 2 network. And there's an explosion of Lightning wallets and Lightning applications right now that we see. El Salvador is an example of that. They're able to deploy to 3 million people in a few weeks. And on a Lightning network, you can move Bitcoin in 1 second for about a 20th of a penny. So it's really money at the speed of light, friction free. But Lightning Network is just one example. If we look at what Square has done with Cash App, they just added support for Taproot, and you can move Bitcoin on the Square network instantly for free or near free right now as well. I think we see initiatives at PayPal and Robinhood and Visa or MasterCard and all of the Bitcoin companies. Obviously, the Bitcoin exchanges, Binance, FTX, Coinbase, they're all allowing you to move Bitcoin very, very rapidly, and they're extending their ecosystems. There's really no limit to the number of layer 2 and layer 3 networks and applications that can be plugged into Bitcoin. I think we're going to see that continue to grow, and I think we're going to see those applications grow. I think that it's also been made pretty clear by the regulators that there are two things that they support. One thing they support is Bitcoin as digital property. And the second thing they support is the idea of 24/7, 365 money moving at the speed of light on crypto type rails or modern digital rails. And that will take the form either of maybe a stable coin US dollar, or it'll take the form of Bitcoin moving on similar Lightning rails or proprietary application rails like Square's. It's a supported use case. A year ago, we really didn't see a lot of that. Now we're seeing an explosion, a renaissance in investment in all those areas, and you've got the endorsement of all of the major financial regulators in the world. So I think that with their endorsement, it's going to accelerate the investments of all the fintech companies.
Do you want to know one thing about crypto? I made over 3,000% in profit in a few weeks. Fact is, the traditional financial system, the traditional money system makes you poor, not rich. If you want to earn $500,000, $1 million, you have to wait until you're 50, 60, 70 in the traditional financial system, and you probably will still be broke. And you will be old. This is not a sexy combination, as you can imagine. But the question is, how can you start in crypto and make these profits? Where to invest? Where to start? My name is Gunnar and I'm from Germany, as you can hear, and things are a little bit different in Germany. More about that later on. Fact is, there are lots of different cryptocurrencies. It's a gigantic universe where beginners and professionals get easily lost. But there is light at the end of the tunnel. There are 7 key steps you need to follow to become successful in this market. You have to know them, and if you fail one of them, it's literally impossible to succeed in this market. Just an example, one of the key points is your exchange, and one of the biggest are, for example, Binance and Coinbase. These are trusted and well-established exchanges, but, and this is a big but, you won't find the super profitable coins on those exchanges. The unknown super profitable coins that get gigantic profits are not traded on those kind of exchanges. They are traded on much smaller insider platforms that are barely known. And I can tell you what those super secret exchanges are and why they are so profitable. And another super important thing are the right information sources. The point is, the internet is gigantic. There are hundreds and hundreds of YouTube channels, blogs, pages, and much more. And there are also market makers and influencers. For example, Elon Musk, he is not a crypto guy, but the moment he recommended Dogecoin, it went through the roof, to the moon so to say. But why did he recommend it? Where did he hear it from? He didn't hear it from newspapers. And believe me, he is listening to someone. But you have to know who, and you have to react before he is reacting. This is really, really important. And these are only 2 of the 7 steps you have to follow in order to be successful in crypto. And if you want to know all of these steps in much more detail, and if you want to have a comprehensive checklist, here's what you should do. There is a link below this video. Click on this link and you will get the opportunity to subscribe to my channel. Click on the link and you will see a video where I explain the next steps. So see you soon. Click on the link now. I'll see you there.